Hello, everyone. I'm Michael Marcinet, President and Founder of MRM EAM Consulting, and I'm joined today by my colleague, Jazz Sidhu, Senior Maximo Consultant. We're excited to introduce one of our MRM Essentials accelerators, purpose-built tools designed to simplify Maximo administration, boost productivity, and extend the value of your Maximo managed environment. Today is part 2 of our demo, showcasing the MRM Essentials DB Query Accelerator, a custom Maximo application that allows administrators to query data directly from within Maximo. If you're familiar with communication templates used in workflows, escalations, or when sending emails directly from a record, like a work order, you know that those outbound messages are limited. They can only pull data from the active record in a single related table. We initially developed this to send audit reports for our MRM Query Database Accelerator, and quickly found that it can be extended to pretty much any kind of notification where you may have a need to provide a table view or for more than one or more records in a single notification. For example, you may want a notification of all completed work orders from the previous day, and you may end up receiving hundreds of emails depending on how many work orders were actually completed. That quickly becomes inefficient, clutters inboxes, and forces people to create rules just to manage the volume, and the important emails get missed. Also, reports. You may have a report, which is a PDF. Again, the user has to open the email, open the PDF to see the results, and sometimes searching and filtering doesn't become that easy. This just makes it that much more simple. Our goal was to solve that problem by creating well-formatted, consolidated communications that include related records in a single actionable message. While administrators can already schedule reports using QBE, query by example, ad hoc reporting, and Maximo, those methods can become cumbersome. The solution we built with our DB Query tool streamlines and accelerates that process, making it easier to create dynamic, data-driven communications directly from Maximo. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Jazz, who's going to walk us through part 2, showing how we've extended our query tool to enhance email communications.
Thanks, Mike. In today's example, we're going to chat a little bit about the audit tables. So if you guys were watching part 1 of our video earlier, you know we did chat about how we keep track of updates and deletes that have happened using our application. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the audit table and see how we can build a report that gets emailed out to whatever set of users you want very quickly, and you can take a look and see what got changed in the last 31 days, or maybe you want to do once every 3 months. All of this is, you're very easily able to modify this. Additionally, we'll take a look at how we can enhance out-of-the-box communication templates. Out of the box, you're only able to take a look at related record data and only one row of it. So the example we're going to look at is POs and PO lines, but this can be extended to anything in Maximo as well as work orders and assignments or any other related table where you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 10, 20 different related records. So go ahead and jump right into the example that we have built for our audit table. One of the things you guys might notice is that type is equal to table. So this is what we're going to be focusing on. In part 1 of our video, we focused on query, update, and delete. A lot of you are probably already familiar with querying and updating and deleting the data from the database, as a lot of you have used SQL Developer or other tools that support SQL. In this example, we're going to focus on table. There's 2 different things you can do with table. One is what I like to call the static queries, and the other is what I like to call the dynamic queries. So we're going to start out by focusing on static queries, and then we're going to later look at the dynamic queries. So a static query is everything that's basically going to get built here. It's going to use the where clause that's right over here, and it means that you do not have a relationship. Dynamic query is you have a relationship and it's not using this where clause. It's going to be validating against whatever records that it runs off of. So it's going to be essentially whatever the escalation picks up and whatever is getting triggered through the escalation. For now, we'll focus on static query. This query that I have built, it takes a look at all of the different rows in our audit table that have been there for the last 31 days. Just executing this, it's just these 3 records over here. And these 2 are from our previous example in part 1. What we want to do is we want to make sure that this gets sent out to me as I want to manage and see what updates and deletes have been run in the last 31 days and by who. So this will tell me who did it, exactly what the change was, and also when did this happen. To do this, it's quite simple. You write the query, you create an escalation. I'll go ahead and activate it so it gets that email sent out to me in just a moment while I chat through it. But the escalation you create is pretty straightforward. The condition is just going to point to the query name. From there, you're going to have an escalation point with one notification attached to it. And this notification is also quite simple. We just want to have colon output. This doesn't need to say test. We can get it to say anything that we want. So I can say this table will show me the updates and deletes performed in the last 31 days. I'll go ahead and save that. Now the email that I'm expecting to get is going to have a beautifully formatted table that will show me all of the updates and deletes that were run in the last 31 days. And it's quite simple. Everything here that's all there is to it. If you want to get one built for yourself, it's quite quick and quite easy. As long as you have the SQL written, you're basically ready to go.
And Jazz, just maybe if you can go back to the query tool while we're waiting for that email to come out. What's important is in part one, we do an update, we do a delete, which we can see here in the audit table. We created this report. You don't have to have an escalation to send it out. And one of the scenarios I mentioned earlier is typically an administrator might have a support ticket that they're responding to, and hence that's why they're correcting that data. They can use this information. They can copy paste that output, put it into the ticket, or simply use the send to function, put their email address and have that table sent out to their email. Or we have a nice automated. So a supervisor or manager of an IT department can have that escalation. And then on a weekly, monthly, quarterly, whatever their criteria is that they want, they can see what updates have been happening in the database by their team so that if there's any concern or questions, the information is readily available. It can be triggered manually. It can be triggered through an escalation. The choice is yours.
Awesome. So this is the email. The main thing that we're going to look at is this table over here. You can see that it's formatted exactly as you would want. It has all the different columns as well, all the information that we need to see. And it's embedded directly in that email. Like Mike was mentioning, there's also the option to get this as an attached CSV. However, in this case, we're going to focus on what we want embedded in the email itself. And it can be modified in the query database tool right here, where you can change exactly what columns you want to see, what conditions it should be using. Basically, everything is controllable directly from here. Next, what we're going to look at is the dynamic queries. So I'll go ahead and jump into this example. So this is an example where you have example attached to POs and PO lines. In this example, we're pulling from a record 1025, which has 3 PO lines. So when you execute this, you can see that it has 3 different PO lines. This is exactly what we're going to see embedded in our email. Now, the difference is that it's not using this where clause. This where clause and what you see over here are just for your own testing purposes. What it's going to do is build it in real time based off what records trigger the escalation. It could be 2 different POs that trigger this escalation. Now, you're going to get 2 different emails in that case, where you're going to have the PO and the PO lines. In our case, we just did it based off of a specific PO. However, this can be extended to do POs that are awaiting your approval. And you a lot of times have to go into Maximo to see exactly what's on the PO line, how much is each item cost. In this case, you can get it so that everything's accessible directly from the email. It's embedded there. And that way you would be able to approve or deny the PO just like that without even having to go into Maximo, look at the record. All the information is there directly from your screen. And like we mentioned, this is not only for POs, it's accessible for all of the different objects as well as the related records. This is just an example of one of the different things that we can do. It's very easily modifiable.
Yeah, the most common scenarios are POs, service requests, PRs, work orders, anything that has related tables to it can be used across any object, but those typical tables have related objects, and that's really where it really shines and it becomes a powerful tool.
This escalation, it's set up just a little bit differently than the other one. Quite simple. You have your condition over here. It could run off of anything, really. This is basically going to replace that where clause in the static query. And the main difference here is how the COM template's set up. The COM template is going to be set up using a relationship. So this is the part that we're going to be focused on. It's going to be the PO lines table dot output. This is the same, but this relationship is what's new. What this relationship is, it's a relationship on the main object, so the PO object, and it's a relationship to the MRM query DB table. What we're doing is we're pointing to the query that we created. So we're just saying query name is equal to whatever the query is. And this is how it gets related to it. I'll go ahead and jump back to the escalation.
And actually, Jazz, can you just go back to the COM template for one moment, Maurice, right? Because I think this is something that's important. I've built numerous communication templates over the years. We always try to beautify these in the sense of putting a table, making it look nicely well formatted. And one thing I'll just point out here is, although we're just using a relationship, we will have a nicely formatted table in that view, right? We saw that earlier. So we're not fooling around to inside of this communication template and that rich text formatting to do that. All that hard work has already been done for you. And we're simply just putting a relationship. And because it's dynamic and based on the columns you have, it will basically format that table in your email for you, something that an administrator or maybe it's a subject matter expert in an organization that's building these that doesn't have to worry about.
Exactly. Just take a quick look what that email looks like. Just as we expect, we get all of our normal PO information that comes from the out-of-the-box functionality of the COM template. But this is what we've done and how we've extended the out-of-the-box functionality of COM template. And like Mike said, everything gets built in that backend. All you have to do is write the query and attach it to the COM template. When the escalation runs, it's going to do its job just as it would normally, but it's going to give you this additional information. So you see all three of your PO lines that are attached to that PO. And just to go over one of the main differences between the two, in the example of the static queries, we have things like all of the work orders that are priority one that are still pending, work that's going to be completed this week, or the things that was missed from last week. It's essentially a static query that's going to get run. Whereas the dynamic one, it's based off of the escalation query. So it's something that can change over time, what records are going to come up. It's not going to be the same as when you are running it. You can get it to run at the end of every month, and it could take a look at those audit tables that we looked at. So it's not going to be the exact same updates and deletes that we were looking at when we were testing. It's going to be run in real time. It's going to send you that information just as you would want to see directly in your email. So in conclusion, what we've built is a very powerful tool that not only does queries, updates, and deletes, but also it enhances the out-of-the-box communication template functionality and gives you a way to build SQL-based reports and send it to a specific set of users anytime and very quickly. One of the great functionalities is that this can be built and give you a query in just a matter of minutes, get it sent out to targeted users just like that.
All of this happening right inside Maximo. No external tools required. Jazz, fantastic work on this solution. I'm really excited to get this in the hands of more customers. For those watching who are interested, please don't hesitate to reach out. Jazz and I would be happy to walk you through the tool in more detail. The best part, it can be deployed in just minutes. Whether you're running Maximo on-premise or in a mass SaaS environment, we use the proper deployment methods to implement it quickly and securely in your system. Once again, Jazz, thank you for an excellent demonstration. I hope everyone found this session helpful, and we look forward to sharing more of our MRM Essential solutions with you. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.